Hi, favored ones. Welcome to Soul Talk. So this is a very special episode. This is our season ender, the end for season 3, and today is Chinese New Year as well. Plus, this is the last episode for Man of Glory. And of course, with me today is my dad, Benjamin Tan, and his friend, Uncle Richard Cheng. Both of them are here with me right now, and I'm thankful for their presence. Um, it actually reminds me of going back to my lineage because they're, of course, we're all from the same province. So I'm really glad to have them here and to share their wisdom and their insights. And let's just find value in today's session. So let's all welcome my dad and Uncle Richard. Hi,
Hi,
Hello.
Michelle. Thank you for having
Hello.
us.
welcome to Soul Talk. Wow, this is really something. And okay, so let's begin.
Yes, let's do it.
First, yes, because I know that both of you have a really good relationship. Could you define the moment when you started to respect each other as a person?
Uh, Richard and me, we are come from the same high school, and we even go to the same college. Then he preferred to go to UP. Then I stay in UST. After that, our batch, they call it batch 31, was organized, and fortunately, Mr. Richard is the president. He is the number 4 in
Fourth.
succession, the fourth, and I'm the 7th. And after that, we are being we know each other more, and we coordinate even further. And as you know, we are even friends and everything. We even have a section called Section A, that is section alcohol.
All right.
And of course,
For
we're not heavy drinker, but sometimes that just enjoy a few bottle or a 5 or 6 bottles
Just one
to
button. Just one. Just one. 58 proof. No, 116 proof.
just maybe 1 bottle, and that's
Yeah.
all, just to have fun and chica.
Yes.
Then talking about our
It's
school time, talking the business, talking about the situation in the Philippines, talking about the situation in the world, and what's happening is
and
after our future, what are we going to do, and ultimately the conclusion is that we have to treasure each other, because a lot of our classmates have already passed away. It's only we are losing, as year go by, we are losing a lot of our friends and classmates. So we have to treasure each other. That is the ultimate point. So even right now, we still treasure it. And once in the blue moon, because it's pandemic, if not every 1 or 2 months, we might see each other and have some chat and have some drinking, and just be happy. That's all.
yes. Well, I can relate to that because the bond formed over
Mm.
childhood is also very strong.
Mm.
And but of course, I don't drink. So but I can understand
no,
that
we
you bonded over bottles and you have talked so much. So that's where
no,
that's where my
the
dad
bottles only
got
comes
to
in
know you better.
much
That is
later.
not
So
precisely that
we
we
know
ban
each other
on the.
since we were, I think I would say teen or pre-teen.
Mm,
So we known each other for over 40 years,
mhm.
and we evolved, as you were saying, we evolved over these 30 years, but there is no truth na nagsusuntukan kami nung nasa high school kami. Hindi naman kaming ganon. Okay, so we studied together, we played together, making sipa, all those things that high school boys do, and then we all move on. So when do I come to respect my friend here, Bentan? it's really, it comes. There was not a time that I don't respect him, but it's just that as the years went on, I get to respect him even more. Even now, as of nowadays, we traveled on the same path in the as presidents, we traveled the same path in the alumni association. But he is the one who is able to stick with it, and what he is today. Not all of your listeners know, but Mr. Bentan, of course, is the current president of the Chiang Kai-shek Alumni Association, which you may say is just a school organization, but actually being Chiang Kai-shek what it is, nandyan na yon sa top. Sorry na lang, Federation of Philippine Chamber of Commerce, Chinese Filipino Business Club, the PE Club, or everything. Andyan pa rin when you talk about the Chiang Kai-shek Alumni Associations, the things we do, the things your dad do, especially this pandemic year. I really came to respect and him very much. Pero I cannot forget those times na naka-short pants lang kami. So, medyo nandyan lang yun. Dati naka-short pants lang
Yes.
kami.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes, yes,
actually,
yes.
my dad spoke very highly of you, Uncle Richard, and I know
Mhm.
both of you are businessmen.
Hindi.
For
Sip-sip-
both of you,
Sip-sip lang siya
Yes.
sa akin paminsan-minsan kasi kailangan niya ako.
for okay, so let's go back. So for both of you to be very active in the alumni, the school alumni association, that takes a lot. That means that you're already stable in terms of your personal lives, your family, your business, for you to be able to serve beyond the immediate family.
True.
Is that also your definition of what excellence is? Is it to serve others? How do you actually practice it in life?
Okay, let me start. When you say excellence in terms, for me, it is something that you do, how far you can go for yourself. It doesn't mean, it is not a zero-sum game. You are essentially competing, you are trying to excel yourself. You're trying to reinvent yourself. And it means convincing yourself that you can do something, better, that hindi na pwede yung pwede na. So for me, at this stage in our life, yes, we have competed. We have our struggles. We try to be better than anybody. We try to be more successful in business than our competitors. But at the end of the day, when it comes, excellence means something that you feel that you feel a little bit better about yourself for the decisions that you do. Any small things. There is no big things in excellence. Like the cliche goes, there is no small parts. There's only small actors. So same thing with excellence. You practice that every day. You practice that in your career. You practice that in your family, in your lifetime, in serving others. For me, that's what excellence is.
How
That
about Dad? Would you also agree?
Of course, I agree with him 100%. But I will add something.
Oh,
To be an
Minan.
excellent,
Okay.
it is not
Yes,
what you say.
okay.
You are excellent. It is not what you are saying. I'm very good. I'm excellent. It is must someone say that, oh, Ben, you are really good, or Richard, you are good. You are excellent in this field. You have learned. You have earned your respect in this field, and you are absolutely good. And I can say that you are very remarkable. That is for people to appreciate it, not yourself, of your family, or your friend, or it is not your wife saying, oh, my husband is really very good. Other than that, you have
Oops.
to show that you earn your respect, not telling people to respect you. That is form of excellence. That's it.
Yes. Actually,
Speaking,
I can attest to
that's
that.
what you
Yeah.
call a high achiever.
Oo. Yes, I can attest to that because of course I grew up under dad's ano rin naman, and it's really for other people to say that you're doing well, that you are excelling in something, and that's the highest form of praise coming from another person if they have seen it in you. But both of you, okay, kasi you're both operating in excellence, having leadership roles in the alumni association. Do you think your past experiences has prepared you for these roles right now? Because you yourself, like Uncle Richard has mentioned that the alumni of Chiangkai
Oh my
is
God.
really it's very significant. Everything that the alumni has done is a mover. It has a large impact to society. And the two of you having roles in this association, do you think you were prepared for it when you stepped into those roles?
Well, for me to become being a president of the Chiang Kai-shek Alumni Association is not an easy task. I've been 8 years being a vice president of the association. From that 8 years, I learned from four presidents. I learned from them what is the weak point, what is the power point, what is the best point. And then you judge yourself what you're strong in this field and what can you achieve through this and how you can command, how you can talk, how you can persuade, how you can convince them to do what you want to do. And of course, it's number one is still that you still have a leadership, no? A very strong leadership. And the first thing what I observe is that you need to to initiate yourself first so that the other will follow. If you just leave them, okay, you do this and you do that, and I don't think they will do it. So you initially you step up something for them to follow, and being that they will follow because they will see you that you are really doing something good for the association, doing some welfare for the society, and doing some favorable things for the school. And eventually, sometimes, no, at the end of the day, you become one of the trustee. So you have to prove yourself that you are a good leader, not a weak leader. You have your own initiative. You have your own creation. You know how to come up with something, and by not being a puppet of certain guy. Oh, you do this and you do that. You have to have your own judgment. That is
Okay.
very important.
All right. I'm getting you. So what you're saying is that you really learned from other role models, the past
Yes.
four presidents, and
Mm,
observe what they did right and what they
mm,
did wrong. And
mm,
based on that, you added something of value, which is
mm.
really you. So it's really
Yes.
more of um being creative, resourceful, and finding the initiative to take action.
Yes.
So that's
Even
that's what leadership is for you and
that's
how
not
you were
that's not
prepared.
that's not only in the Chiang Kai-shek College Alumni Association. It is also in the business. You have to come up with something. You because you don't even you hire someone, but you have to think that you really need to step up. You really need to come up with something. You really have to do it yourself, and you really have to watch what they are doing. You have to guide them until it's finished. And sometimes that the task is very difficult. You have to show to your people that you can achieve it, that you can do it at the end of the day.
Oh, that's very
Mm.
beautifully said. And I'm
Ah,
sure Uncle Richard would agree because he also
Yes,
you mentioned that you
yes,
rose from the ranks in your
mm.
career.
Yes. Mm.
So I'm
yes,
sure even in the association, both
yes,
of you
that's
rose
true.
from the ranks.
That's true. Leadership is
Mm.
achievement oriented. Okay, you can be elected a leader, but that is just the
Mm.
first part. How do you continue to be a leader? How you lead, how you interact with others, and of course, how do you get to where you are? There is no innovation without imitation.
Mm.
We have to imitate before you can innovate. Okay, and
That's the
like
first time I'm hearing this. But thank you because that's
yeah,
very practical.
yeah, because in business terms, when way back in the 80s, when I went to US, the Smithsonian, we're trying to buy souvenir, and then there's this white American Karen mother. Don't buy that. That's made in Taiwan. Okay, as if it is something inferior. I'm sure when your dad and I were young, we make fun of things that were so-called made in Japan.
Mm.
In our when we were small, made in Japan means something that is imitation, that is inferior. Okay?
Yeah,
And
right.
lately, when you know, that sabi nila, oh, ano, made in China lang yan. Okay? So, how do they all achieve what they did? They start by imitation. Okay? They they learn from others, and then eventually Japan, Taiwan, and now China are becoming innovators. They improve. And that's what, in essence, in our little world between of your dad and I, that is how we learn. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from others' mistakes, but at the end of the day, in order to become a leader, you have to be successful. You cannot just be a leader and be just so-so every time. We lead an army to battle and we always lost the battle. Hindi pwedeng ganon.
Mm.
So that's what I mean. You have to have your own track records also. Okay, that's what
That's
Right.
leadership is
true.
about. Okay,
You know,
I'll drink to that.
that's very nicely said as well. And
Mm.
it's not often that we hear it unless we talk to someone who has really gone through those experiences.
It's not often I discuss it because it only occurs to me. It's brewing in my mind, but I never said it out. Not even in our conversations, which normally the other guys dominate naman. Nakikinig lang ako kasi I learned a lot from them also. Although hindi lang na-mention ng dad mo, nowadays our main topics is about anong health mo, anong medicine para sa ganon.
Bigla akong natawa doon. But yes,
Eventually, we will come to that.
phases of life. Ano,
Okay.
both of you speak with such authority. There's this confidence when you speak, and you're quite. Actually, with my dad, of course, I experience it. But to hear you speak as well right now, there's a certain magnetism when you speak. Parang makikinig ka talaga. You'll stay put and listen. Is it something that was honed or that was learned through time? Because that's the power of influence, and I've noticed that every good leader has that power of influence. Could you expound more on how you were able to gain some sort of authority and power in terms of personality and character?
We don't know. That's what we are. You're talking about you're opening our heart, you're opening our soul, and we just sort of bear what we hold to be true as being as Asian, Chinese, of Chinese ethnic, and being influenced in this country, growing up. What we learned from our parents, what we heard from our parents, essentially ganon. That's we try to bring into our children, not very successfully in my view, because our children are doing better on their own the way I see it. Okay. How about you?
Oo rin naman. Of course, we still need guidance no matter what our age is. Yes, Dad.
Well, usually if you if you need to what you call earn your respect, number one, or if everybody is listening to you, number one, you have to be confident. Number two, you should lead the way so that or encourage them to motivate them that they can do the task, they can do the work, and ultimately that they will listen to you because you have a good judgment, you have a good reason, and you have a good background that to persuade them that it is more effective and more efficient if you
Sure.
do it by that way. So it's a matter of how you communicate. It's a matter of how you convince them. That is the how you should do to 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 motivate them and give them some encouragement. That's it. To in order to help them do the job properly and wisely, and eventually it is fruitfully.
So it's also through through the things that you have done in the past. So a lot of, judgments from the past, your credentials as well, the things that you yourself did, that's your basis for having the confidence and the respect of other people. So that's where the influence is coming from. So halos
Paying them
aligned.
salary doesn't it helps also.
Yes, of course.
It helps that you pay their salary.
Monetary consideration is one of the highest motivative substance.
But you cannot say that for your dad in the Chiang Kai-shek alumni because nobody got paid. And they all have to take they've all to take out money.
Yeah.
Nobody earns.
Precisely.
Okay. Parang my mind, I am processing what you have, what both of you have shared about authority and, having that strength to have the influence over other people. But let's go to family life naman. Ayun. Because we talked about the topic for this month is really the divine masculine. So it's really very masculine energy. And as a man, what do you believe are your main duties and responsibilities? Of course, pwede nyo naman itagpi yun eh. It's aligned to work, aligned to leisure as well. So you could, gain from any experience. But what do you think, or what do you believe are the main duties and responsibilities of a man?
Tanong natin macho natin.
Well,
go ahead, Dad.
Well, for me, number one is that you should give your family a comfortable and suitable life. The most important thing is to educate them. You cannot say that you give him the full support in terms of monetary and you are happy. No. Just like God said, you should tell them how to fish themselves. It is not feeding them fish. Tell them to fish themselves. Tell them persuade them that they can stand alone, even without the support of the parents. That is very important because we parents cannot support you all the time. Sometimes that life is too short, and we don't know after 5 years, 10 years, but we are definitely sure even after 5 or 10 minutes, and why I was not in this world, and you yet can stand alone. That is very important. It is not what I have to give you a lot of money as inheritance. That is not the case. It is the case that you should know how to stand alone. You have to fish for your own. You have to come up with your own because someday, somehow, you need to raise your own family. You need to give comfort to your family also. That's the way of life. That's why a lot of people is saying that a good family is to have all the children know how to fish themselves. All the children must live in at least a few of them, not a few of them, not a few of them. It's everybody can support it by its own, can stand by its own feet. That is the success of being a family man. Because even no matter, as you can see, a big family with 4 or 5 brothers and only one is earning and four is not earning, then after the parents die, even how big the money was inherited to them is nothing. It will end up in zero if they did not know how to earn by themselves. So education, the family value, family teaching, that is very important. It is not saying that, oh, I give you toy when you are, you like toys, I give you toy. You like dress, I give you dress. You like a car, I give you a car. You like to, important is you have to educate them. Give them best education. At least to tell them that you should know how to stand alone, not rely on your parent most of the time. That is very important. That is the best and that is the best family value or family teaching that a common family has to do.
Yes, actually, I also believe in that, and it's also a representation of what angkong and I mean grandfather for because most of the favorite ones are Filipino. So what my grandfather has passed down to the family, and it's really to his glory that everyone, each of my uncles and aunt are doing well on their own. So thank you for sharing that and verbalizing it. How about Uncle Richard? How about you?
Well, in my experience, first of all, I would consider my experience in parenting not that successful. But in the sense, what I learned and what I can pass on, it's not my experience, but just to do and say the right things at the right time. So when your family is young, it is up to you to nourish and to take care of them. But eventually, what many parents, if pwede ko ba mag-stereotype ng mother na somehow in our eyes, children are always children in our eyes, even when they are father or when they are grandfather, but that is not the correct image. You have to, your outlook to them, how you deal with them should also give credence to where they are now. So back to your question, what is your responsibility? Your responsibility is to give them what you think they need when they were very young, when they're growing up. As I said, you need to provide for them. You need to take care of them. And when they were growing up, they were being developed, it is there, we are there to support them. Anything that we can supplement, we do that. But once they are fully grown, it is time to stand back and let them grow, let them fish for themselves. Okay? Pag nahuli mo dati, mga galunggong, baka by that time, ang hinuhuli nila, mga lapu-lapu na, mga pampano na. Okay? So, the hardest part of parenting is when to know, when to let go, when to say the right things, when to do the right things. And it's always, for me, my own experience, it's always a work in progress. Okay, I have 3 sons and I'm very happy and I love them all very much and they were all very successful. I don't know if they achieved the excellence that is as defined by my very good friend Benton here. But I, as a father, I'm very proud of all of them as to where they are. Okay. Pero siguro, kahit na may anak kong adik o ano, I will still love them. And I will still find ways. Pero thankfully, wala naman. Yung that lang
Yes.
nilang, yung that lang nilang maraming bisyo. Okay. So for that, I'm successful.
Mm. Yes, but and hearing the two of you speak about the duties and responsibilities, and I know that it's not easy. It has been a difficult road, but of course, a journey full of love as well. But then of course, love with pain combined. But given that, how do you take care of yourself? Because you seem to be carrying a lot of responsibilities, diba? You have the business, and then now you also have the alumni association to think of. So bukod pa yon sa family. How do you take care of your health then? Your physical health, your mental health, your emotional stability?
Lots and lots of
Well, the
supplements.
best thing is to discipline yourself. Yeah, is to discipline yourself. You have to make sure that you have plenty of sleeping time, and that is the best medicine you can have.
True.
Even you have a lot of supplement, but you can only sleep for 4 or 5 hours in a day. That is not enough. Eventually, you are going to collapse. But with at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep per day, you can do anything what you want. Even you can handle 3 company or 1 association at a time is okay, as long as you have the proper management and discipline on yourself, and that is very important.
Very simple, no, and
Yes.
straightforward. Sleep is
Mm.
just enough. But for Uncle Richard, how about you?
Well,
Kulang ba ang rest or okay na ang sleep lang?
in Hokkien, we have the term, no matter where you are, no matter what your station in life or what your achievements are, we have a term called the ho jia ho kun ho pang.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe
No.
that wants to elaborate on that.
Yeah. Ho jia ho kun ho pang. Of course.
That's the goal in life.
Yeah.
You
It's
eat well,
better.
you
Yes.
sleep well, you
Yeah.
poop well.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
That
it.
is the luxury of life.
Yeah. That's very important. That's mean to say you have a very good health. And
It
you
doesn't
can,
care if you eat the best food or you eat the simplest
Yes.
food. You have the softest water bed or you
Mm.
sleep on the floor.
Yes.
Okay.
As
And
long
you
as
have
plenty of
a
sleep.
gold-plated shower or you just have the
Mm.
very ordinary outhouse.
Even tabo-tabo lang.
Oo.
As long as you are happy and you are contented, and you feel that it is enough for you already.
True. You must not neglect yourself. That's why I always say I rather invest in wellness than sickness.
Yes.
I
That's very
rather
important.
invest in being healthy to prevent sickness than to treat the sickness. But as much as possible, as God is willing.
And I'd like to elaborate something. Let's say you want to sleep, be sure you sleep on time. You're not. You say you sleep 8 hours, but you sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's not. Even you sleep until 10 or 11 in the morning, and that's not good. Be sure you sleep on the right time. 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, and you wake up around 6, 6:30, or 7. That's
In
it.
Chinese, what we call the golden hour. Is it
Yes.
between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock? You
Probably.
have to be sleeping by that time.
Yes.
Kaya
It is
kawawa
not.
yung mga may night shift o yung mga night owl.
That's why every people work at night shift, they have a called differential, at least a 10% increase in the wages. That called night differential. That
Ayan.
is in the
That's not
the
enough.
labor rule.
That's not really enough
Yes, of course.
for the price you pay.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
It's
Because-
value kasi yun, value of health.
Yes.
If the boss is earning a lot of money, gusto niya 24 hours a day, ano magagawa mo?
Are the Minan, ayun, the people from Minan, are they really very direct? I'm not sure ha, kasi parang both of you, parang you don't, there's no, like when we talk about poop, normal yun eh, di ba? But in proper societies or get-togethers, it's something not to be discussed. But here, it's even stated as a quote, something that's really being passed on and really regularly mentioned. So does it also show the value of um, the town where our lineage came from?
Well, compared, Minan, Min is the shortcut name for Fujian. So if you translate it literally, Minan means southern Fujian. This is a coastal area in Fujian where in historical times people are more well off than the inner parts of China. So, but somehow, nagde-develop ng meron kaming, the way I see it, na parang may independent wild spirit. It is the Minnan and the Guangdong people who ventured out of China to come into Luzon, to out of the country. We are the ones who dared to go out. Hindi yung mga nagstay dun sa mga Beijing, sa mga ano. It's very, very difficult. We have in our innate, what you call that, in our innate character to be more daring. People like Gokong Wei, like Lu Shutan, like, all those Taipans, the way they started being very, 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 they struggled. They took the chance. Okay, so when you talk about Minan people, there is a interesting history because the Minan language is not heard anywhere except in our area. The capital of Fujian, supposed to be yung native province namin, Fuzhou, their language is totally indistinct to us, totally different. So there are histories on how the Minan people came from. And there was this theory, I don't know kung nabasa ko lang sa YouTube o conspiracy theory, that the Minnamese stock came from the remnants of the Tang dynasty. When the dynasty was overthrown, they were being persecuted, so they fled down south. Okay, so that is where they settled because there are a lot of sounds and everything that you do not have in what you call the Putonghua, or what we local call the Mandarin.
Mandarin.
The Mandarin is very simplistic compared to the Minnan sounds. Mandarin do not have the letter B, it do not have the letter G, as in ba, ga, but the Minnan language, what we call the Hokkien, but we call the Hokkien, it's not Hokkien, it's Minnan language, have all these intonations and everything. But we cannot be, what do you call that? We cannot be the judge because we are only limited to ourselves. I'm very sure, and the way I see it, yung neighbor natin, even in our country, the Cantonese, they're also very colorful. That's where your dad has the advantage because he speaks both Cantonese and Minnan. Okay, being born in Hong Kong. Okay, so maybe your dad can expound on that. Let me just stop here.
Actually, in
Very into history.
and in Chinese, the main dialect is they call it Mandarin or Putonghua. Even you speak Putonghua, you speak Cantonese, or you speak Fukienese, but at the end, it is all have the same word. Ibig sabihin that they have all the same writing. Even you speak different language, but if you put them in writing, it is all the same. That is the excellence of Chinese. Unlike the others, no, that they have different word but different writing. But in China, different dialect have the same writing. That's why it's easy to communicate and easy to understand. Even you did not know how to speak Cantonese or you did not know how to speak Bucanese, but by looking at it, you know what they mean and you can communicate through it. That is the
It's a
how you
uniqueness.
that's
The
a
uniqueness
very
of
the uniqueness of I did this Chinese word, no, unlike even in Japanese, they sometimes or even Korean they prefer using Chinese word.
there was one time in history that they interacted with China. Kaya ngayon, mortal na kaaway yung Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. Not in our time, in our parents' time. Ngayon, pareho na tayong humahabol ng pera, kaya friendly na tayo. But
Yes, of
even
course.
in the
Trade.
generation before us, there is really an antagonism between these three groups, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that little snippet about Putin.
We're going off tangent, are we?
No, it's okay because this is something I find very interesting. But of course, I haven't really read up to it yet. But
We're trying to get ourselves invited to the next interview.
we're coming to an end. We're coming to an end. And I am really very appreciative of everything that you have shared so far. But looking at the two of you, there's happiness, there's contentment, and then naturally peace is also there with all the decisions that you have done, diba? And of course the stability, the wealth, the prosperity, it's also there. What wisdom could you share to all the rest of us so we could also live this kind of life?
Well, for me, it's number one, you have to have confidence on yourself. Number two, you have to have determination. And number three, that you should have confidence and trust on yourself that you can achieve it. Because if you don't have this kind of three condition, you always say, oh, mahirap to. I cannot do it. Oh, masyado mahirap. Hindi ko kaya. That is the problem. Number one is the confidence. Number one is the determination and the ability to do it. That is very important.
And I think are kind of tied together, no?
And I think Uncle Richard have more to talk about it.
Actually, there is no one level. How do you measure wealth? How do you measure the level of peace or happiness one achieve? We are born with different absolute values. It's a very, very cliche, but we are born with we all have one half glass. Like I only have one glass half of beer left. Do I tell myself that, nako, it's only half a bottle, or buti na lang meron pa akong half a glass of beer? So there's a Chinese word we call you have to be contented. You have to know your limitation. You have to accept yourself. Shio hok. How do you translate shio? You have to treasure what you have and not try to yearn for what you do not have. For me, I think that's the best way to make it applicable to everybody.
Yeah, that is to treasure what you have right now.
Not that it stops you from achieving your own level of excellence, but at the same time, you still have to work within your limitations. Okay, yun lang ang for there will be peace and harmony in this world, para akong Miss Universe, no? But the point is to be contented.
Yes.
Yes, that's very
after all
wise.
The struggles, after all the harsh words and everything, when you sit down by yourself, be contented.
Yes, that's true. Treasure whatever it is that you have right now and work on your strengths. Tapos, of course, your limitations, make it your strengths as well, if it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah. To cap it all off, okay, to cap it all off, um, because you've already mentioned what your duties and responsibilities are, di ba? How do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy to not just to your families, but also to the community in general? Because you're both serving into your communities, di ba? So what is the legacy that you'd want to everyone to remember you?
Well, I do not know what I want people to remember me by, but I know what I do not want people to remember me by the bad things that I do. All the mistake that I made, yung mga pakiking bad boy yon. So I would rather be unremembered. I came into this world noisily. I get out this world as peacefully as I can. So to carry on what our parents, our ancestors gave us, we live the same thing, not only in terms of attitude, but also importantly nowadays, yung environment. We live them in a world that is the same or better than the world that we find it in. Yun ang siguro, yun ang pinaka legacy that I can pass on. I don't attain to do great things or what. But if I'm Bentan, I need to achieve greatness.
Well, for me, the legacy is that,
Adding to that.
Whenever my son or my daughter or even the grandchildren, when you speak, oh, how are you related to this one? Oh, that is my father, or that is my grandfather. And oh, I know your grandfather. I've heard of your grandfather, and that is very important. That's the only thing.
Wag lang bad boy
What lang bad boy lang. At least, oh, I know your father. I know your grandfather.
A
That's
good
it.
name.
A good
Leaving
name.
a good name.
Yes.
Yes.
That is very important. That is precisely that. Even right now, people say, "Oh, you are the son of this Gia. You're the son of this Kamtiak." Yeah. At least they give us a good name, and by that good name, and they will trust you, and they will credit you. And that's mean to say they know you have a good standing, and that is I mean to say that it's better than a 5 years a 5 million or 10-year loan from the bank. Oh, you're the son of this, you're son. Oh, okay, no problem.
Nakakautang.
Nakakautang ka.
Business pa rin.
Di ba? Oh, I know your
Okay.
father. Oh, your mother is this. Oh, okay, no problem. They know immediately. That is legacy. For me, that is very important. The name is better than wealth.
So that means that we also have to really take care of our names, our reputation, because it really affects the entire family.
Yes.
Parang
I
mas
say,
simple yung kay
Mr.
Uncle Richard.
Mr.
Yung
Richard
simple
Cheng.
exit.
Oh, I know your father. I know your father. I know your grandfather is a very good man. He's the best he's the best in the batch. People remember that.
That's really a legacy then. The name.
Yeah,
Remembering the name, remembering what the person has done.
People, because when you go somewhere and oh, you're the daughter of this one, or you're the father of you're the your father is your mother is a certain. Oh, I know your father. I know your mother. Oh, immediately.
That's very Minan.
Very Minan. That's already something.
All right, that's very that's something. Yung makilala. I didn't realize that that's how you saw it. That's surprising. But I should have known. But thank you for sharing that. But before we end, last na, Is there anything else that you'd want to do in this lifetime? Because you have accomplished so many things. And even if you feel that you haven't really reached the pinnacle of success, is there still something that you'd want to do?
Well, I can say that even if I don't earn or I don't strive again, I still can live a comfortable life. But the problem is I need to make sure, just like my father and my parents, make sure that to give me some more in monetary consideration, that to augment my my capability and to my financial problem, and to lessen this problem and lessen this obstacle. Of course, I follow the footstep, and I will also do that to my children. And because that's a family tradition, and at least give them, promise them, not exactly that 100%, but at least give them something that even at the difficult time, and they still has come across with it.
So that's really coming from the grandparents rin, the family value.
Yeah.
So, yun pa rin yung gusto mong gawin. But really amazing. Thank you. How about you, Uncle Richard?
Well, eventually, what's remainder of life to see things go on. Hopefully, of course, we like to live as long as we can.
Yes.
And there's really nothing much. I am going to live every day as if it is my last. Unless yung mga projects na hindi ko natapos, hopefully, matatapos ko. Ganun lang. Pero otherwise, I've had my run. I have my run, and I'm quite contented as to where I am. Yung environment natin, it's just unfortunate now we have this pandemic and everybody's suffering. I want to see some more kung how do we get around it. There will be an end to this. And of course, I have this philosophy in my life that God will never give any one of us a problem that we cannot solve. We're always being tested. I cannot ask for a problem-free life, but I can ask for the confidence that I feel that all of us can overcome any obstacles put in our way. That's all.
Yes.
Well,
Wonderful.
I like to add something. Sometimes that you really have to determine, or you have to understand that there's a saying from the Chinese that 儿孙自有儿孙福. Ibig sabihin, may kanyang-kanyang swerte. Even no matter how you give them and how you protect them, but if they don't have this ability and they don't have this hockey, wala rin mayayari. Ibig sabihin, you don't really parang yung have this responsibility to look after even when you are when you are already gone. The most important thing for me, at least you give them something for them to parang
Prepare.
not yung parang a bakery. You give them some yeast for them to
So
it's like an advantage.
That's the only thing you can do.
You do what you can, and
Pero yung kanyang-kanyang
you do your
swerte,
best.
that you cannot control it. You
True.
cannot control it. At least you give them something. That is your responsibility. But if they cannot do it and they cannot make use of it, pasensya na lang. You have
Wala ka
done your
naman
duty.
pinapatamaan, ha?
Di
You
bale,
have-
swerte si Papa, swerte ako eh.
you already old enough and you know what is right
Yes, that's true
and
naman.
what is wrong. So it's
Mm-mm.
it is entirely up to you. Because sometimes you see, maybe I've seen a lot of people when they are depressed, they are 40 or 50, they start taking drugs. At 50, at 55, you see, okay. For the 20 in the year of 20 plus, 30 plus, they don't take drugs. But after 50, they take drugs. Paano yan, di ba? So it's entirely
They
it
must
just
have
on your
happens
life.
that
They must
people
have their
Entirely
really
reason.
on.
hit crisis, di ba?
They must have their reason.
Kasi sometimes that you cannot say that, oh, I need this to what you call to relax. I need this to parang to stress out, and I need
Yes.
this to I need to do it. That's bullshit. I don't think that is the best way, because when you are sober
He's using curse words na.
again, you still have a problem. The important is you
That's when
solve
we know it's
it.
coming
You
from the
have
heart.
yeah
You have something to bleep na.
yeah you the problem is still there, and you still have to solve it. And you cannot go by drinking, by smoking, or by by taking drugs. That is not the cure. That temporarily will make you sleepy, but the problem is still there.
Actually, that's very true because it's sad to say that a lot of people would like to ignore certain things, di ba? Parang to escape certain issues, but not facing it would really just compound the issue.
True.
So it happens to everyone, not just to the young people, but also to those
Yes.
who are in later in their lives. And actually, that's also one of the objectives of Soul Talk, so that people would know that there's always hope, that nothing is permanent in this life. So if anyone is having a hard time, anyone having difficulties, it's only temporary. You just have to face it daily,
You just have to
one day
sit
at
back.
a time.
You gather yourselves. You clear your thoughts.
Yes.
And then you go back to
Mm-mm.
fight again.
Yeah, even if you start from the beginning, it doesn't matter because that
Yeah.
beginning is a level up.
True.
Yes.
So
You
thank you so
Richar for it.
much. Thank you so much for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Bye bye.
For the beers.
Bye.
Ayan, aalis na siya. And of course,
Hanggang-
for the favored ones, if you're watching this live or on the
Ah.
replay, I hope that you gain wisdom and find value in this conversation.
Some
This is an
wisdom.
introduction to the values and behavior and attitudes of a Minan lang. And I am happy to be introducing this part of my lineage to you.
Yeah, and we love to see your comment on how bad we're
Yes.
doing this.
So Happy New Year, Happy Chinese New Year,
Happy New Year.
everyone.
Happy
Take
Chinese
care.
New
God
Year.
bless.
Yung hiwat
And
bye bye. Bye bye.
take
Bye-bye.
care.
Good luck.